in, you party animals. You ready to get going? Here we go, up on our feet. Come on, let's get here. There's a fire within me, and it's deep down in my soul. There's a fire within me, and I'm here to help it grow. And it's warm in me, deep down in my soul. Yeah, it's warm in me, deep down in my soul. There's a fire within you, and it's deep down in your soul. There's a fire within you, and it's here to help it grow. And it's warm in you, deep down in your soul. Yeah, it's warm in you, deep down in your soul. Let's all gather together. Let's all gather together. Let's all gather together and help that fire grow. Let's all gather together. Let's all gather together. Let's all gather together and help that fire grow. There's a fire within us, and it's deep down in our soul. There's a fire within us, and we're here to help it grow. And it's warm in us, deep down in our soul. Yeah, it's warm in us, deep down in our soul. Let's all gather together. Let's all gather together. Let's all gather together and help that fire grow. Let's all gather together. Let's all gather together. Let's all gather together and help that fire grow. There's a fire within me, and it's deep down in my soul. There's a fire within me, and I'm here to help it grow. And it's warm in me, deep down in my soul. It's warm in me, deep down in my soul. Here's Michelle Medrano right here.
Woo! Dr. Barry Ebert! There is a fire within him. Hey, I have good news for you. It's an original music day by Dr. Barry Ebert. Woo! Yippee skippy, it's going to be great. So glad that you are here today, bringing your light into this beautiful community. Back in Arizona, when I was a minister at that church for many years, almost every week we would say something to the effect of, whoever you are and wherever you are on your journey of faith, you are welcome here. And I loved that idea, and I loved that truth that resonated through that community, and it resonates through this community too. We know right here at Mile High Church, whoever you are, wherever you are today on your journey of faith, whether today's a day you're feeling really grateful and faith-filled, or today's a day where you're not so sure, or you're practicing a lot of other faith traditions or practices, whatever it is, you are welcome here, and we are so happy to have you with us. We welcome those of you who are in the room, and we have a lot of viewers who are watching us online. Hey, I have an idea. How about all of us at the count of 3 say hello to those folks? On the count of 3, say hi, online viewers, okay? 1, 2, 3. Hi, online viewers. We're so happy you're here with us today. We hope that you will come back into this sanctuary with us sometime soon. We'd love to hug on you and welcome you back personally. And we have a vision and mission that are compelling and joyful and lovely here at Mile High Church. And so I'm inviting all of us to speak that vision and mission aloud together. So please say with me First, our vision, oneness revealed, a world of love, peace, and abundance for all. And our mission, to serve as a spiritual beacon for personal empowerment and global enlightenment. What a joy it is to remember these things. And as we step now into the beautiful practice of deepening and prayerfulness, we're going to sing together, have a few moments of silence together, and then Reverend Millie will lead us in prayer. Let us begin.
Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angel wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angel wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place.
There is a beautiful presence in this place. That presence is spirit, God, joy, absolute. Whatever name you choose to call it, it is here. It is absolute love. I know today that I am one with this allness that is everywhere. I know this for everyone within the sound of my voice. I know this for each and every sentient being on the planet. We are all one, for it is impossible to be separate, one from another and from spirit. No matter where you choose to worship today, I know all is blessed. No matter where they are, on a mountaintop, on a trail, in a mosque, they are all blessed. We are all blessed to honor that one and that oneness. I know for each and every person today who is experiencing something other than what they feel as love, I know that God is right there with them, surrounding them in that peace through their special and unique journey. And so I also give thanks for our words today from Dr. Michelle, for they are blessed and channeled by Spirit. For music, for everyone who makes this service wonderful and what it is. I am grateful. And so with that, I just release this prayer. I release it into the law. I release it knowing that my words have been heard and acted upon by that law of mind that always says yes. And we can affirm this together by saying, and so it is. Amen.
I let my soul surrender spirit that's inside of me. I let my heart fall open to this love that is setting me free. In this sacred moment where I stop and taste the breath of peace, I leave the troubles of this world behind me, and I rest in your amazing grace. Move in me, Great Spirit, now I feel you in my heart. In your presence I remember that we never have been apart. I will stop my thinking, if only for a little while. Leave my stories at the door for later, and step into the silent smile. When my cup is empty, I am filled to overflow with peace. I know I have the kingdom in me, on a journey that will never cease. Move in me, Great Spirit, now I feel you in my heart. In your presence I remember that we never have been apart. In your presence I remember that we never have been apart.
Our words of inspiration come from C. Joy Bell C. No, this is not the beginning of a new chapter in my life. This is the beginning of a new book. That first book is already closed, ended, and tossed into the seas. This new book is newly open, has just begun. Look, it is the first page, and it is a beautiful one. And from our founder, Ernest Holmes, today is a fresh beginning, a new start, and a joyous adventure on a pathway of eternal progress. Today is bright with hope and happy with fulfillment. Therefore, I affirm that this is the day God has made, that it is good, and that I find fulfillment in it. The radiance of joy in my own heart brings happiness into the lives of all those about me.
I have grown weary from all of this trying. My soul is still crying for something that's true. I know you can hear me. Sometimes I can feel you, and I know I'm the reason that you're finding it hard to get through. 'Cause I've got my own little stories, and I build them around me like walls, but they just get in the way till I can hear what you say when you call. So I will step aside. Let your love move through me. My heart is open wide. I've been hiding so long. A candle in the darkness. And all along you knew me. Just waiting for the time I'd be still enough to hear your song. I've looked for the answers in people and things. I've tasted the heartaches that loving can bring. I've taken my chances, felt the fire when it touched me. And I know there's still music inside me to make my heart sing. So I'm laying aside my defenses and giving myself to the quest. 'Cause the song that you play when I get out of the way is my best. And I will step aside. Let your love move through me. My heart is open wide, and my spirit is strong. A candle in the darkness. All along you knew me. Just waiting for the time I'd be still enough to hear your song. Just waiting for the time I'd be still enough to hear your song.
Dr. Barry, beautiful. Yeah. He not only speaks, he sings, he does so much. Thank you. We love you, Dr. Barry. And we love our wonderful band, Bijou Barbosa, Mike Marlier, Kent Roundstrauss, Rob Lowe. Woo! Yes. So talented. Love them also. Well, welcome to part 2 of my 2-part series entitled Bloom. And I thought I would wear my flowers today and representing blooming as the spring is coming. And today, the deep conversation that I want to invite us into is Alive, Awaken, Refresh. It's an opportunity to look at, as a human being, as a soul, as a physical being in this earth experience, how can I continue to bloom, have energy, feel alive, feel awake to living, feel refreshed? And so I joked in the description that I'm not here today to sell you on any coffee or tonics or anything like that, although I am a worshiper of coffee, certainly. And there certainly are physical things that we do and can do to support ourselves in that regard. Yet, I really want to invite us into a deeper conversation about, at the soul level, in terms of how I live my life, the choices that I make, the things that I encounter. How can I bloom more profoundly? And every time I started to approach this message, to work on it, I would see in my mind a plant and see that plant kind of wilting. And when I would see that a plant wilting, I would recognize that when a plant is wilting, it usually needs something. It needs more of something. And it's fascinating to me nowadays. We don't have to guess so much. There are now apps that will tell you. You just have to open the app and take a picture of a plant or put your photo up to it, and the app will say, needs more water, needs more fertilizer, needs more sun, right? Wouldn't it be nice if they had one of those for us? Needs more tequila. No, that would be my answer probably. And so it would be really convenient, but it hasn't been invented yet. I know some of you geniuses out there you're already thinking about it. You're putting it together. So when you got it, you let us know. But for now, we're going to continue to explore together the opportunity to bloom into being. And there's something in the world of wellness that is considered a best practice when we're feeling that wilty feeling or that feeling of disconnect from life. Tired, exhausted, overwhelmed, heavily burdened with the burdens of our life and the emotions and the things we see going on, there's this thing called HALT. It's an acronym, HALT. And it stands for hungry, angry, lonely, tired. And the suggestion in the wellness world is that when we're feeling that wilty feeling, that we assess, am I hungry for something or food? Do I need to be fed? Am I angry and I haven't resolved it? Am I feeling lonely or disconnected? Or am I simply tired and need more rest? And these are all great questions that I think can contribute to our wellness, important for us as we approach our wellness initiative as a community this year, to always consider HALT. And I've come up with my own today that are the spiritual connections in my mind to HALT, my own HALT, if you will. My words are heavenly, assuredness, lonely, and thankful. Opportunities for us to ask ourselves when we're feeling that wilty feeling, how we can go, first of all, from in the H category, from heavy to heavenly. And when I say heavy, I mean that burdensome feeling that we sometimes feel, that life is just hard. And things that are going on in the world are hard to see, hard to be with. Things in my own personal life, sometimes hard to see, hard to be with. And that heavy feeling like I just can't move. I don't want to do more. I don't know what to do. I feel stuck. I feel disconnected. And how do we go from that heavy feeling to that heavenly feeling? And when I say the heavenly feeling, I don't mean like we're dead. we're off the planet or anything, like we're in heaven walking around on the streets of gold or anything like that. And yet there is an element when I thought about that feeling of heaven, I thought about all of the beings on our planet who have had near-death experiences, who have died and come back to tell about it, had some incident in their body where they've lost consciousness and gone to what they say is the next realm, and how interesting the stories are about that. And years ago, there was a woman in one of my classes who had had a pretty profound near-death experience. I'm sure some of us in the room have had them ourselves. And sometimes they call them in that community an afterlife experience. And she came back with a similar recounting, as a lot of people do who have had that kind of experience, saying, number one, after having that experience, they're no longer afraid of death at all. They're courageous about living their life full out, and the possibility of their death no longer scares them at all. But she had another element that really stuck with me. She said, after that experience, where in her recounting, she felt so light, so free of the human body, free of the human experience, free of the human energy, and felt just absolute love and lightness in the universe, that when she was thrust back into her physical body and back into this human form with the energy, the denseness of the world of form. She yearned so much to go back there that she at times felt challenged not to end her life. And she spent a lot of time getting help and support. And that really struck me. And it struck me that a lot of us who are deeply spiritual beings can often feel that pull towards that realm. Or if we've had a mystical experience. I know that in my life, I've had a few moments of absolute transcendent experience beyond this realm that has caused me to feel in connection with the whole universe and feel that oneness, and it was bliss. And the coming back into this realm has caused me to yearn for that also in my own way, not necessarily yearn to end my life and go to the next realm, but to have more of that, for the desire to transcend the pain and suffering that sometimes we endure ourselves, that we witness on this planet. And it can be challenging to be in this realm. Indeed, I have theorized many times right here in this very room that a huge part of the game of living that this is all about is not necessarily to be fully in this realm and oblivious to the spiritual realm that she experienced and that some of us have experienced, not to be in denial of our human experience and be so out in the realm of that life of the ethers that we're so spiritual we're no earthly good at all. But indeed, part of the challenge, the invitation, I think, that is afoot for us as human beings is to see how it is through this human journey we can do both. Jesus, the great master teacher, used to tell his followers, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Thousands of years ago, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. And I think that was true then, and it's true now. But the way that the kingdom of heaven is at hand is not because we have to shed this earthly body to have heaven. It's, can you be here and be in all the stuff that we go through as a human being and still be one who seeks out and experiences that heaven? And I think that is why that master teacher also urged us to seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all else shall follow. What we tend to do is seek ye first relief from our suffering, relief from the things of the world, and hope that the kingdom of heaven follows, right? And so we get it kind of backwards. And it can be in a moment. I had a moment this last week that challenged me to do this. I was watching the news, scrolling through the news, and there was this photo that I bet many of you might have seen also, of a little boy in a parka that was tied around his face, and his face was scrunched up and he was crying, and he was carrying some toys and a bag. And the headline said, "This boy walked across the border from Ukraine into Poland all by himself." And it broke my heart. I saw that little boy and I just cried. And I just felt the pain of, no, that can't be true. That can't be happening to little children. Are you kidding me? And so I was with it for a day or so, and then I kept going back to the story. And then I thought, this can't be true. So I decided to fact check the story. And I went to a number of sources that are out there that you can fact check stories, because I wanted to know, did that little boy really walk across the border? And turns out that wasn't exactly true, that his mother was actually with him 10 feet in front of him, and they just chose to photograph him alone. And so I was like, oh, good, I felt this relief. But then I continued to read, and it said, however, we do definitely have a report of at least one little 11-year-old boy who came across the border alone with a phone number written on his hand. And his story was that his mother had to stay behind to care for her elderly mother who was disabled, and she stayed in Ukraine and wanted her son to be safe, so she sent him all by himself. And I just couldn't believe that in this time, in this day, in this age, in this era, that this is happening. And it's not just happening in Ukraine. It's just that Ukraine happens to be in the news big right now. But all over our planet, there are places I know where this is likely occurring. And I could barely stand the pain of that as a human being. It was just a little too much. And so I did what I know to do when I get that desperate. I didn't know how to solve it. I thought, well, maybe Ken and I need to go to Poland and we can adopt a new child. Wouldn't that be great? How do I solve that? We'll have a new Ukrainian little boy. I can do that for sure. But then I thought, no, I don't know that that's ours to do right now. So I went within and I did what I have to do. To me, a huge part of that making myself available to the kingdom of heaven, making myself available to that heavenly energy when that heavy energy tempts me, has to do with the meditation practice that is important to me in my life, leading me into that inner place of the Most High when things are okay, when things are fine. So that when I have these crises like this, I know the way. I know the way in. So I went in to that inner place. And I said to that divine presence within me, how the hell is this still happening? What's going on here, God? And I got, after a while of just being patient, that feeling began to happen within me. And that feeling of love and warmth that enveloped me. And it said to me, don't you think that I'm with this little boy just as I'm right here with you? Don't you think that my presence is guiding and supporting and sustaining and helping this child? This is his journey. This is his journey in life. And you cannot know what will come from this. So send him prayers. Send him light. Do not harm him by sending him your worry and your fret and your anger and your pesosity. Be a beneficial presence to him, a heavenly presence. Affirm that heavenly energy is right where he is. And as I practiced that over and over and over again, every time I'd start to feel the heaviness of it, I began to feel in that non-local place where we all reside and we all exist, and that heaven that is not far off but is right here, right now, the opportunity to claim and proclaim that on his behalf and to see that sense of God's got this. I don't know how. I don't like it, but that presence is there. And if there is something that is mine to do, to send resources, to reach out, I'm guided to do that. And we all must find ways to facilitate ourselves through our inner practices, through that inner door of the Most High, so that we constantly can lead ourselves from the heaviness of this human experience into the heavenliness for our sake and the sake of each other, and for the sake of bringing forth that kingdom of heaven on earth as it is in heaven. We're all responsible for it. We all have our part to play in it. We are all a part of the divine one, and we have a place to be with regards to that light. And so going from the heavy to heavenly is a huge part of how we enliven ourselves, water ourselves with the rich water of the divine presence every chance we get. And then we go on to the A word in my acronym, and that is going from anxiety to assuredness. Anxiety, a huge part of what happens when we get caught up in this heavenly human experience is that anxiety can become an ongoing experience that we have. Whether we're chemically prone to it or we indulge in continued thoughts and practices that lead us into anxiety. But assuredness is learning to practice that sense of trust in that divine presence unfolding in our experience, unfolding forward, calling us forward. Assuredness, I found, is defined as great coolness and composure under strain. And so it's about learning to watch and value and care for ourselves in a way that we can relieve ourselves of our own anxiety in some very profound and basic ways. I love the image that many speakers will talk about, motivational speakers will talk about around self-care, about how on an airplane they always tell you, if the oxygen mask drops, put your own mask on first, then help someone else, right? And so when it comes to anxiety and learning to facilitate ourselves to assuredness, an assuredness to me means that things can happen and unfold and that I don't meet them with constant anxiety, that instead I'm filled with a willingness to see the possibilities, an assuredness that things are going to work out, an assuredness that I'm guided even through this experience. I learn to care for myself, even though I might be giving care to another, even though I might be healing from my own pain or suffering, that I learn in the most basic ways to care for myself. I'm happy to say that finally, I have grown to a level of maturity. Some people call it age, but I'll call it maturity, where I now am pretty clear what works for me and what doesn't in terms of caring for this body temple, in terms of caring for myself and assuring that I'm in the best state of mind and heart and beingness that I can be in. And I've noticed that I am very sensitive. I remember hearing a message years ago where a man said that we who are these spiritual beings, who are attuning to the kingdom of heaven, who are attuning to that God presence, tend to be sensitives. Not just we're talking intuitionally, but also physically, emotionally, mentally. If we're sensitives, it means that we sometimes feel not only our anxiety, we're empathic. We feel everybody's anxiety, right? You might be sitting next to someone right now going, wow, I really feel their anxiety, my goodness. Oh, I like it. Those two people looked at each other. That's great. That we are sensitive beings. And that's good news and bad news. It's good news because we can feel and we can sense, but it can be bad news when we're overwhelmed by it. And so what it takes for us is to find out what works for us in every realm of life. What works for us physically. I know now that when I take into my body certain things that no longer serve my body in being as strong and centered as possible, I feel it immediately. It impacts my sense of sensitivity. And this is when I become grumpy, grouchy, angry, tired, all that good stuff. I know that if I don't get enough sleep or if I don't have enough downtime, if I'm not taking care of myself at those most basic levels, my anxiety ratchets up. It just ratchets up naturally because my system says, hey, we're sensitive. We're here to do good stuff. You need to take care of this thing. You need to be the best version of yourself right now, to meet the challenges of the day. Not only mine, but everybody else's too. And so it's always an invitation to trust myself in caring for myself and to trust the unfolding of my life, that everything works out, that if I'm patient and I move forward, I don't have to be so anxious. There's a great quote that was attributed to John Lennon mostly in my research. A few other people have said it in different ways, but I like the way John said it. Everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. Right? It's an invitation. Be patient. Everything's going to work out. I may not be able to see it, but it will. It does. Be assured that life unfolds perfectly, and step forward and be willing to live and take risks. There's a beautiful book that was written called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. And in some respects, for living our best life, I want to say to us today, feel the anxiety and do it anyway. Feel the anxiety and live anyway. Anxiety is not a stop sign. Anxiety is an indication that we've lost our sense of trust and assuredness. And in some ways, we can, if we are willing to move forward anyway. There's a beautiful judge that's on television that I really love and think she's wise. Her name is Judge Lynn Toller. And she says, if I wait until I had all my ducks in a row, I'd never get across the street. Sometimes you just have to gather up what you've got and make a run for it. Right? And I think that's part of assuredness. It's just saying, it looks really, I don't know, let's just go. That feeling of, I'm going to live anyway. I'm not letting this stuff stop me. In one of our chapters on anxiety, Ernest Holmes, our founder, is talking in The Science of Mind about anxiety and nerve tension. He was talking about specific physical issues. And he says, we are poised in a sense of peace, which comes from our complete faith in God as the light, power, and inspiration of our life. There will be no twitching of muscles, no uneasiness or anxiety about any outcome if we know, whether waking or sleeping, that every step of the way, God goes with us. There is a power in this universe greater than we are, and we are in the midst of it. And when we learn to be assured by that power and presence, we can move forward. And we can bloom our life, because a lot of times we're letting that anxiety that cripples us cause us to just wilt. And so it's an invitation into assuredness. The next one in the L, I use the same word, lonely. And I'm saying going from loneliness to loveliness. Loneliness is something that researchers have indicated has been plaguing humanity for a long time. And there's a bit of a paradox about it, because there's so many more people on the planet, so many more ways to be connected, and still our levels of loneliness are raising higher and higher and higher. And this was true even before the pandemic. But since the pandemic has occurred, and as Matt Kahn said, we all got sent to our rooms, we may have had troubles feeling connected. And feeling lonely is that feeling of disconnect. And it's troublesome because we are hardwired biologically to be connected to each other. We did not get created by the universal presence to come here and be alone all our lives, even though some of us have experienced loneliness. And now I want to distinguish loneliness from being alone. There is, of course, great power and restorativeness in choosing to have alone time and have space for ourselves. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm distinguishing that from the feeling of disconnect that then comes with a sense of victimhood about it, a sense of sadness about it. I'm so lonely. I'm so lonely. I don't feel connected. I feel so disconnected. And how loneliness is impacting us is powerfully present right now. And as we're beginning to come out of a pandemic, it's important for us to allow ourselves to rediscover, I think, the loveliness of life that comes from connecting with other people, connecting with each other, connecting with the beauty of our earth, getting out of our homes and seeing the sky and the clouds and the stars at night and the trees and the flowers and all the things that are available to us, the loveliness that lets us feel that presence. In her most recent book, Atlas of the Heart, Brené Brown speaks about a meta-analysis of a study that was done on loneliness. It was researchers Julianne Holt-Lundstad, Timothy B. Smith, and J. Bradley Layton found the following. Living with air pollution increases your odds of dying early by 5%. Living with obesity by 20%. Excessive drinking, 30%. And living with loneliness it increases our odds of dying early by 45%. And she talks in this chapter about her resistance to loneliness. Really? But it's an important factor, again, because we are made to be connected. And so even though I know for some of us, we aren't feeling as safe as we were before to be out and about, we're still wanting to have good boundaries and care for ourselves, which is fine. And many of us, I've heard say around here, well, connecting with people on Zoom or online or whatever, it's just not the same. And you are right. But that stuff, that connection combats loneliness. And it's worth it. It's worth it. It's better than feeling that disconnect and feeling as though we're not connected to other people. And so taking steps to be connected, what I believe and the research shows is that our wiltedness will begin to go away and we begin to thrive as we're connected. We don't have to connect with a ton of people. It's not about having as many friends as possible. It can be one or two really good, heartful connections that make us say, I don't feel so alone now. And we have to discover them and bring them forth into our lives. And the last one is going from takeful to thankful. It's about taking a look at our propensity to want to take as much as we can, which is often born out of lack and limitation and will wilt us every time, versus the thankful energy, which is about learning to be thankful for what we have, for what we've been given. That's why it's called Thanksgiving. We take time to be thankful for what we've been given. And there are lots of studies that have been done on the power of gratitude and its effect on mental health and its effect on the beings of life to be able to thrive. But a magazine, I looked up a lot of these studies, and a magazine called Good Magazine found fault with a lot of those studies because they said many of those studies have just been conducted with people who were already feeling pretty bloomy, pretty happy. And so they said, what would happen if we did a study on thankfulness with people who were feeling challenged? So they found 300 people, most of whom were college students at the time, who were seeking support for their mental health issues. They wanted counseling. And they took these 300 people and they promised to give them counseling so that they could talk about their issues. But in addition to that, they broke them into 3 groups. In the first group, they had write a letter of gratitude once a week for 3 weeks. The second group, they had write out all their problems and concerns and things that they felt had happened that were bad to them once a week for 3 weeks. And the third group, they didn't have them do anything. They all got counseling, got support in that regard, but just each added these little steps. Well, lo and behold, they found that the people who wrote those letters experienced a greater degree of blooming into happiness and joy than the other 2 groups. In fact, they say, this suggests that gratitude writing can be beneficial not just for healthy, well-adjusted individuals, but also for those who struggle with mental health concerns. In fact, it seems practicing gratitude on top of receiving psychological counseling carries greater benefits than counseling alone, even when that gratitude practice is brief. And then they also went back and studied their brains. They did some vibrational study on their brains and saw that 2 things were very interesting. The people who wrote gratitude letters didn't even have to send them if they didn't want to. That they could write gratitude letters to people who'd died and that were no longer on the planet, but just writing the letter did something to their brain. And that the effect of this continued on weeks and months beyond the writing of the letter. And so it's about a life where we cultivate gratitude and thankfulness. I'm inviting us to bloom, to consider ourselves like a plant this week, that we would look at and say, if I had a plant that was failing, I would water it. I would do something to care for it. And that we deserve as much as our plants do. And therefore, where is it that you may want to choose to bloom this week? Is it in the discovery of heaven and a greater sense of connection to the heavenly realms? Is it in that place of assuredness and feeling more assured about life and confident about your path? Is it about the willingness to see and resonate with the loveliness of life? Or is it about giving greater thanks? And maybe it's all of it. But in any case, what I know we can do if we take these things on and practice them consciously and conscientiously, we can, we will, we do bloom. Join me in some prayer. We go within now to recognize the power and the presence of the divine light and love that is right here, right now. We're breathing it in, and with every breath, it's like feeding our neurological system, our body, our whole being with that willingness to say yes to life. That breath in and then that breath out, something we give back into the universe for the plants to thrive, for greenery to be present on our beautiful earth. And so we, right here and right now, with the very act of breathing, we are contributing and receiving and contributing to the beauty of life. We stand together right here now in this moment of this presence because it is everywhere. It is in the breath in, it is in the breath out. And as we stand in this presence, what I accept and affirm is that the words of that master teacher thousands of years ago are true for us right here, right now. The kingdom of heaven is at hand, in us, through us, and as our life together, as our life individually. We claim it right here, right now. We feel that inner knowingness that says yes to it. We feel the doorways within our being burst open to allow that light to shine through brightly. And therefore, any challenge that we witness in life, any suffering, any of our own experiences are now brought into a greater level of awareness and possibility for ourselves as we meet them and greet them in our bloomed state of being. And as we do this, we bring the best of ourselves forward. We bring the divine possibility of livingness forward. We are spirit in form. And the joy of that is tremendous. And the resolutions that occur are tremendous. And the possibilities of life are expanded. And we live a life blooming to the fullest extent of our beingness. Full life. I give thanks that this is the truth of us right here and right now. As I release this prayer into the action of that law that makes it so, it is done. We let it be. We let it go. And so it is. Amen.
Move in me, Great Spirit. Now I feel you in my heart. In your presence, I remember that we never have been apart. In your presence, I remember that we never have been apart.
Thank you, Dr. Barry. I'm aware that our beautiful Mile High Church is an entity in and of itself, and that many of you continue to water it and help it to grow and thrive by your presence here, by your prayers, by your service, and by your contributions. And we are so grateful for the way that we all together tend to this beautiful community. And so this is a time in our service where we invite you to consider tending to the community by watering it with your abundance, by sharing your financial abundance with us. Our ushers are going to pass baskets, so that will be available. We also have containers in the lobby for those of you who are in the room. And for all of us, us. We can text to give anytime, night or day. We can go to the website anytime, night or day and give. And we can send in letters of gratitude, which we love reading. It is so touching to read the gratitude letters that come in with wonderful contributions. So thank you so much for continuing to help our Mile High Church thrive. And as we do this activity together, please say our affirmation with us. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. And so it is.
Well, now we've made it to the future, and everybody's got a camera, and we can watch the world develop scene by scene. Now that we can see each other, who will we become together? Can we find room on each other's screen? Now we're staring down into our hands and talking with our thumbs, but it's so hard to look each other in the eye. These machines will never see us or give us what will free us. For this we must look inside. We can build a world together that works for everyone. Let this be the place we start. Let's build bridges, not walls, around our hearts, my friends. Let's build bridges, not walls, around our hearts. Well, now it's politics and television and all this strange communication with a steady dose of high anxiety. We've been focusing on our divisions, losing sight of all our visions. Just comes down to you and me. We can find a place to make our stand, still reach out an open hand, look beyond our differences and see. When we use our hearts to look around, take the time to slow it down, we know that we've got all we need. In every tribe and nation, there are stories of great masters who show us how to walk a path to God. And if we follow in their footsteps, we will learn to love each other and find a truth we all can stand upon. 'Cause we can build a world together that works for everyone. Let this be the place we start. Let's build bridges, not walls, round our hearts, my friends. Let's build bridges, not walls, around our hearts. Let's build bridges, not walls, round our hearts, my friends. Let's build bridges, not walls, around our hearts. Around our hearts.
Dr. Barry Ebert, Mile High Church Band. He'll be here all week, 2 shows on Sunday. Dr. Michelle Medrano, awesome talk, relative message. Hey, if you are new to this community and you would like to learn a little bit more about us, you can stop by our Welcome Center right in the center of the lobby, or we have a bunch of materials in the resource racks at either end of the lobby. And if you are feeling in need of prayer, we have these awesome prayer practitioners who are happy right after service to give you a quick affirmative prayer. Reverend Linda.
Hi, I'm here to extend a personal invitation to each and every one of you to attend our workshop that starts in 29 minutes in the Community Center in Room D. Remember, we'll have fun and snacks.
Snacks. Great. And we also want you to know that there is still some space in Dr. Rogers' meditation retreat coming up in a couple weeks. If you're interested in registering for that, go to milehighchurch.org. It's a great way to help to develop your meditation practice so that it's an easy place to go to whenever you need to. So consider that. And this Wednesday night, Reverend Millie is speaking at 7 o'clock right here. Jennifer Burnett singing, so please come back for that service. And now we invite you to rise up as we do our benediction and peace song. We go forth in love and light, knowing that the kingdom of heaven is at hand. We are that kingdom. We live from that kingdom. It is the truth. We let it be so, we let it go, and so it is. Amen.